Yo, wasn't expecting this. So, guys, here's the third one. Thank you guys for tuning in or for coming back. So, you guys need to share. You want to be rich, right? So, if you want to be, guess, if you get like a billion, right? If you cannot really share a simple video like this, how are you gonna share like $1 billion? That's something else. But so we're gonna continue. So make sure that button that goes like this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can press it sometimes. Maybe on the ones that you like, of course. When it was his turn to speak, he told Maneko, I don't know where Makakhanti is. For a split second, Maneko was irritated since this man had nothing for him. If he had nothing for him, it also meant he had nothing to give Tinashe, which meant he was on the verge of returning to the streets where he had come from and was bred. Since the only way out had been offered, this closely individual had no choice but to give him something. This is not. This is what it means. Sorry. This is what it means to make something out of nothing. He wanted to go and get high and never come back. He said, calmly as he waited for Ndlozi to speak. When was the last time you saw him? Maneko inquired. Maneko was already Ndlozi was already half asleep when this question was asked, and he appeared to be dead at that time. When someone came to ask him what was going on, he had only shook his head, and Maneko would leave him with the hope that he had come back and check him out while he wasn't intoxicated. So he left them there and went to Tinashe, who was waiting for him in the car because he knew more information was on its way. This was the best way to receive it. Maneko got into the car. It had been about 30 minutes and was around 100 meters away. So Maneko sat down and told Tinashe everything that had occurred. Tinashe decided it would be better to take him and wait until the drugs were gone. Tinashe offered him money to purchase some, but he had to make sure that no one followed him. He arrived and decided to kill two birds with one stone. So he took clothes using drugs he had purchased as bait, which worked. Tinashe stood behind and wondering if they were all talking about the same Makakhanti. The drug community was unlikely to intrude on them or catch them interrogating and close. This gave him power to negotiate when they arrived at the location. Tinashe brought the roller gate keys into a warehouse, and Maneko managed to unlock it. And Tinashe entered and closed. Had napped in the car while he was still driving, making their task simpler. For the day, all they had to do was to make sure that each and every one of them started each and every one of them started taking chances together. Inflows who woke up, he had to find them ready. He hadn't come to waste time in this metropolis. Okay, sounds like Superman now. The time to laugh and make jokes was limited. Even Dr. Cho let him off the hook to study more and gain experience in research and archaeology. For that, he needed to discover that the young man had a lot of potential to keep going. If it was going to take time, Dr. Cho's call was just a minute away. And humans will always try to find a way out of their issues, even if it is not good enough. When the time came, Tinashe had to make choices based on which path was safer. So human trafficking frequently concurs with other organized criminal activities like drug trafficking, smuggling of immigrants, extortion, money laundering, document fraud, payment card fraud, and property crimes, cyber crimes, and others. Um, 2 January, it's around 8 p.m. Here's another one. It arrived this morning. It's been added to the list of of all missing individuals, said a young officer at one of the police stations that had many problems in the community, including missing persons of all ages. There was a lady who came in to open a case about her 14 about a missing 14-year-old. I need to take she's more I take breathe in, breathe in. breathe out. A missing 14-year-old boy. And what's going on is that all these hundreds and hundreds of missing human beings are becoming a problem. The number of young males is greater than most, particularly those of youth. They had a list of citizens who had been recovered, but none of them had created a lead for them to follow. And they had failed to solve the problems. They appeared to have progressed as far as they could, with no hope of ever improving. All this information was reported to the police detective of homicides after they realized something bad was happening or had happened with so many folks gone for so long. All these individuals had allowed themselves to put in an extra effort to solve this case. And when the time came, everyone was only concerned um, with the with receiving justice, even if they were considered just police officers. Their work seemed insignificant when they caught a trafficking criminal today and another the next day, because criminality in organizations works in such a way that it is a war of authority and on the basis of discovering the truth. Human trafficking is a crime that has no place in the society of today. By denying mankind their basic rights, freedom, and dignity, it destroys their lives. It's frequently a violent crime carried out by organized groups. So, okay. And when they could sleep at night with guns beneath their beds and were only concerned with money, it became important. Just take a picture. Just take a picture and put it on the missing persons wall and just drop those files there. The detective said, I'll read them. That's what night shifts are for. And being able to do so is a good way to progress. It changes everything one knows. And this one will simply solve it as humans frequently do. I'll put it there. The young officer did exactly what the detective said and walked into a room with an entire wall of missing persons across the country. This was a problem unique. This was not a problem unique to one city, but a national issue. But it required effort to change the way folks moved forward, and the entire objective of how individuals were said to have evolved when they had so much wickedness within their hearts. Okay. When the detective went through the files, it changed the entire goal of everything that was going on, and everything had to go as planned. When the objective is to transform the planet, this was the way to do it. So the detective read the file and recognized that among all the photos, it was prudent to separate the circumstances that led to the victim's kidnapping. What were they involved in, and what were their life challenges when the officers wanted to find how the victims were conducted by the kidnappers. Meanwhile, Nhlosi's drugs had begun to wear off, and he needed medication. He woke up while Tinashe was playing games on his phone and listening to music in the car, and much gave him space to think of a way they could change the entire conversation, to face him and blame him for not taking care of a person he considered a brother. The question of how he got there was much more difficult, and Shlozi was certain this was not the place to be. Even at that point, the story made sense, and with that understanding, the folks in the warehouse were only three. It was not a good idea for Nhlozi to scream when Tinashe came his way, so he remained silent like a wounded dog. Tinashe had a limited number of questions he wanted answered. When Tinashe realized this man had become sober, he approached him and inquired, "Do you know where Makakhanti is?" "I don't know what, okay. Do you know where Makakhanti is?" "I don't know what that boy called Maneko told you, say." Nhlozi replied quickly, "And I had no idea what is going on." Say, that's a good one. Maneko was standing right behind. As the chair was facing the front, Maneko then walked to the front and said, "What are you saying about me when I thought you had sought me out. Thank him that I hadn't. Tell him that I haven't seen Makakhanti around here in about 6 months. For about 6 months. How come?" Tinashe inquired. "They are brothers. I have to know what you want." with Makakhanti for this to continue. They are brothers. We are brothers. I have to know what you want with Makakhanti for this to continue. When does he stop to accuse each other for these crimes? Shying away from the truth. Ntozi said. Tinashe told Maneko that if he didn't free Ntozi from the rope, that was surrounding his body, what you would do to them. Oh, okay. Tinashe told Maneko that if he didn't free himself from the rope that was around him, there was something that was really going to happen. So let's listen to the next round of what happened. Trots was helpless and he knew it. All he wanted to do was to get out alive, only to go back to doing drugs. But not to be. That was not to be when he realized these men had not come to give him drugs to sell, as he had assumed. Makantini's name came up again, indicating the gravity of the situation. He kept his cool, hoping to walk out of here with his head still attached to his body. When individuals are afraid, they always have answers to whatever questions are posed to them. Yeah. So they hadn't frightened him all that much. Tinashe explained to him what it meant for him to find Makakhanti. He explained that it was primarily about his moral obligation. They were honest with him, so he wasn't going to be honest with so he was going to be honest with them as well. He looked for a way out and discovered that there was much personal redemption that he needed to do, but he never started. Listen, whatever Makakhanti did to you, he deserves none of this, Tinashe said. And Closey responded, I have no beef whatsoever. Without wasting much of your time, the truth so if you are seeking for a way forward, and Closey became aware of, it's gonna disturb the whole thing because you want to go in.